Hey Oz,
Hey, Curtis.
what movie we watching this week?
This week we have a movie marriage of Super Troopers,
Okay.
Super Bad,
hmm
and Never Been Kissed. This week we're watching 21 Jump Street.
Never been kissed.
Never Been Kissed.
Never been kissed.
So, welcome back, listeners and viewers, to another week of Let's Talk About Flicks, the podcast where we take a monthly theme. New theme this month.
New theme.
New theme. Episode 88 kicks off the new theme. Last month we covered a slate, 5-week month of bad
Yes.
movies based on television shows. And we decided to reward ourselves with 4 weeks of dessert. Well, we cover good movies based
Yeah.
on.
A lot of deep thought went into the theme for this month. Oh, we just did bad movies based
Oh
on TV
man,
shows.
you should have seen how many crumbled up pieces of paper I had like tossed towards my garbage can.
You went through a dozen legal pads.
At least. So yeah, we're gonna kick off good movies based on television shows
Yay!
with a movie that's 11 years old already.
I know, right? I thought about that as I was prepping for this. 11 years old.
Yeah, man, we're old. Like to watch this and be like, oh, this new movie. That's
Yeah, this,
it's a
for,
decade
for,
old.
for the youngsters.
Right? We're gonna cover 21 Jump Street. 21 Jump Street. The
21 Jump Street.
the prequel to 22 Jump Street.
Yes, yeah, the prequel.
Correct.
Well said.
And so before we get there, we do want to throw out a shout out to our Patreon subscribers, Don S, Aaron A, and Mandy K.
Thank you.
This episode's for you guys. Because we like good movies, and you like good movies.
Mhm.
And so we're going to cover a good movie.
So we're going to cover a good movie
we're going to cover a good movie.
for
So,
good people.
For good people. So what do we got as a cast of characters here?
Yeah, it's your movie this week, so you got the plot, so I got the characters. I broke them up into the goods, the bads, and then a couple at the end as well.
Gotcha.
So the good guy characters, we have the partners in crime, quite literally. We have Morton Schmidt, played by Jonah Hill, and we have, I think Greg is his first name, Greg Jenko,
Yeah, it's
played
great.
played by Channing Tatum. I love Morton Schmidt. They are partner cops. They're the odd couple. They didn't like each other in high school. They became partners on the force, and now they're an inseparable team. Oz.
Yep.
Their captain at Jump Street is Captain Dixon, played by Ice Cube. Yes, folks, that Ice Cube
Yep.
with his like 90 seconds of screen time in this movie.
The in a much improved role from Anaconda, I must say.
Yeah, a little more to this one. We have another kind of cameo in a way. Deputy Chief Hardy, played by Nick Offerman.
Yeah.
I will throw in a character who was pretty inconsequential, but just someone who became someone after this. One of the other officers at Jump Street, the character's name is Fugazi, a young Dakota Johnson.
I know. I saw that in the cast because I'm watching it. I'm like, she looks so familiar because
Yeah.
she blonde in this,
hmm
and so I was like, what face is that? Because I know her. But yeah,
Yeah.
Dakota Johnson. I like
Young Dakota Johnson as another 21 Jump Street officer.
Yeah, her hair was one of the 50 Shades of Blonde.
one of them.
Yeah.
We also have a cameo by Holly Robinson Pete, who, yes, I like me some Holly Robinson Pete, reprising her role as Judy Hoffs from the TV show. We then have the bad guy characters, and I'm gonna kind of loosely characterize some of these characters as bad guys because of sometimes it's guilt by association.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have Molly, played by Brie Larson. She's more kind of like guilt by association. She
Yeah.
hangs out with Eric, played by Dave Franco. Brie Larson and Dave Franco's characters, they're high schoolers.
They actually look like high schoolers.
Yes, they do. They sell what is it? Is it I'm trying to remember.
HFS.
HFS, that's right. Because you can't say that one out loud. That is an acronym. Holy something something, which is the name of the drug that they distribute. Spoiler alert, the villain is Mr. Walters, played by Rob Riggle.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Well, and you may have just left out his character's name because he's just Rob
He's
Riggle.
Rob Riggle. Yes, he's
Yeah.
playing Rob Riggle, PE teacher who is manufacturing the drug.
And, and lover of Cool Ranch
Yeah,
Doritos.
yeah, he does. He does love him some Cool Ranch Doritos.
Oh, I have a love-hate relationship with Cool Ranch Doritos. They smell like a bag of bad breath. And it's like we'll pick up a case of like assorted chips for the kids in their lunches, and it's inevitable that when at the end there's 8 bags of Cool Ranch Doritos left in there, and like my kids never take them, but then I'll have a bag, because they're there and I don't want to throw them out, so I'll eat a
Yeah.
bag, and next thing I know, I'm like, I kind of want another bag.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm never craving Cool Ranch Doritos ever, but yet when I have some, I'm like, I just kind of want more. So I don't know what it is about Cool Ranch Doritos.
My kid loves him as well, so I don't know. We have a couple small roles at the school, people who work at the school. We have Peter B. Parker himself, Jake Johnson, playing
Yeah.
Principal Dadier. We have Mr. Gordon, the drama teacher, hilariously played by
Oh
Chris
yeah.
Parnell.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love Chris Parnell in this movie.
He's such a subdued funny.
Yeah,
He's one of those comedians that you really have to listen to what he's saying, because what he's saying, the cadence of his speech is the same all throughout, but then
yeah,
he just peppers in these just hilarious comments.
yes. We also have a problematic character who I'm sure one of us may bring up later. Miss Griggs, played by Ellie Kemper, America's sweetheart, Ellie Kemper.
I'll
We
let you
have
bring it up because I thought she was hilarious.
it's again, her
It's
performance was
yeah,
hilarious.
yeah.
The
And
character,
yeah,
yeah,
the character. Now, I guess it's easy to overlook because of the truth that we know.
uh-huh,
That we're like, oh, that's funny because we know he's not a student, but yeah,
yes.
she's got boundary issues.
That's one way of putting it. We have, you could argue, the real bad guy of the film, Domingo. He's the leader of the One Percenters, a street gang who's all about the drugs, played by
Yeah.
DeRay Davis.
And
And then,
they just look like a team of bad guys.
yes,
These
well,
aren't
and they are.
these aren't your bikers that are like Hands Across America, like Habitat for Humanity. These are like, no, we're bad. We're bad bikers.
Yes. We have several other one percenters. I'm gonna again, spoiler alert. A couple of the other one percenters are undercover DEA agents. Doug Penhall, played by 21 Jump Street OG Peter DeLuise, and Tom Hansen, played by the one and only Jonathan Depp.
Yeah. John Depp
John
shows
Depp.
up in this movie. Yeah.
Jon Depp.
Yep.
John Depp. Those are the characters, Oz. What do we got for the plot of 21 Jump Street?
Well, what we've got for a plot is we start off back in high school. And I think it's important to remember that arguably the most important people are behind the scenes in this movie. And
Yes.
that's Lord and Miller, the
Uh-huh.
directors. Of course, they did the Lego movie, and they've had their hands in so many other projects that around this time were just, because they're involved, it's going to be funny.
Yeah, everything they do is hilarious.
They were like this era's version, and humor me for a second, of like the Farrelly brothers.
Sure.
When the Farrelly brothers hit the stage, granted, most of their stuff has not aged well,
Mm-hmm.
but when they hit the stage, everything they touched was gold.
Yeah.
And then Lord and Miller come along, and they're just hilarious and can transcend like film styles, and I mean they're just
Genres.
yeah, it's just a lot of fun. So we start in 2005 when Schmidt and Jenko are in high school, and coincidentally they go to the same high school, and they both end up missing prom. Schmidt misses prom because he asks some hot girl out, and she just kind of laughs him off.
I'm the Slim Shady.
I know, it's like that's the kind of stuff that Lord and Miller, I think, they excel in. Is they've got their finger on the pulse of what's somewhat contemporary, but is distance enough that it's going to be funny now. And, like rocking Jonah Hill with with his like bleached hair, making him look like Eminem. and then dropping the real Slim Shady and the Scott movie. It's like this is from the jump. It's just funny.
Yeah.
Jenko also can't go to prom because he's failing.
Yep.
Apparently.
Yeah,
And
the principal calls him in and just say, "You're not going."
because apparently in this high school, eligibility matters for prom. Like,
Yep.
sorry, you're failing. You can't go.
Prom is an IHSA sanctioned
Exactly. And so they kind of, I won't say connect, but they're both in the same predicament.
Yeah.
In high school. Fast forward 7 years later, they both join police academy, and we get one of many montages in this
Yes.
movie
Yeah.
of watching these two, basically the human versions of Monsters University.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. You're not wrong. Yeah.
where you've got Morton Shazowski, who's the brains of the operation, and and Greg Sully, who's all physically gifted.
Yeah.
And so are cops now. They team up, they help each other out. They're cops, and they're going to take over. They're going to be the best cops ever.
Yes, they are.
And then cut to bike patrol.
Yeah.
Which again is just one of those that I enjoy a comedy that lays out the joke like verbally.
Yeah.
Before they cut to the punchline, it's like they really boast. It's our time. We're gonna be the best cops ever.
Explosions, car chases,
and then
and then they're in the park, right?
Because I feel like if they didn't hype themselves up so much, now it's tragic. Oh, you guys really aren't very good cops. No, it's funny now because of how ambitious they were. And it's again, they go from that montage of police academy to a montage of bike patrol. They're they're fishing kids' frisbees out of the pond.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. And you can tell that Jenko has not grown at all.
No.
This is 7 years later, and he's still that high school jerk.
Yeah.
He's just accepted Schmidt because Schmidt's helped him out.
Yeah.
And so they see in the park this 1%er motorcycle gang, and they're smoking a joint openly in public.
Yeah, openly just doing drugs right there in the park.
And so we get kind of a fun chase scene where Jenko is after Domingo and Schmidt is after the ZZ Top looking big ball guy.
Yeah, that huge mountain of a man.
He was a big dude.
Yeah.
They end up catching Domingo. One thing that doesn't age well in this is the amount of gay sexual references.
Yeah.
He tackles Domingo down and then pretends to be his friend,
yes.
Which is something for Channing Tatum. It's he was on the delivering end of it this movie as opposed to
yes. Was it This Is the End?
Yeah, This Is the End, where he's on the receiving end of which was funny, but they screwed up. So they have Domingo. They've really cracked. They're gonna. This is their chance to get off bike patrol, but they forget to read them as Miranda rights.
Yeah,
because
you have the right to be an attorney,
right? Because Jenko doesn't know the.
He doesn't know the Miranda rights
because they always cut away from them on TV.
Yeah.
You went through an entire police academy and you don't know the Miranda rights. You could have watched Police Academy and gotten the Miranda rights.
I will say one of the other things that I notice, and this, you don't catch it the first time through, but the Johnny Depp, Peter DeLuise characters are there.
Oh yeah, there.
In facial prosthetics, deep undercover, and the Johnny Depp, was it Tom Hansen character says, "If them boys is cops, I'm DEA."
Right. Yeah.
And he actually is DEA.
Yeah, had you watched it the first time, of course, you would have never caught it. Yeah, that's one thing I noticed as this movie went along is the amount of somewhat lingering camera shots on Johnny Depp's character. They would cut to him whenever the 1%ers are around. They made sure they it's not he was just in the background, but they cut to him just standing there for a moment and then they cut away. It's
unnecessarily wink. Yeah,
right. It's really Domingo and the big bald guy are the only two that were noticeable.
Yes,
The rest of them were just kind of there. So, uh, Police Sergeant Offerman, whatever
Yeah.
his name is. Basically, um, he's quizzing him on the Miranda rights. It's clear he doesn't know him, so he's like, "I got a project for you guys," and he sends him down to Jump Street.
Yep.
Okay. A scheme that they have revived from the 80s, where they're basically, we've got a bunch of young looking cops that we're going to put undercover, and they're going to crack down on those types of crimes.
Yes. Young people crimes.
Yeah. So they show up at their new precinct, which is like a Korean church.
Yes.
Equipped with a Korean Jesus.
Yes.
And you have Ice Cube. Sorry, wrong ice product as a police officer.
Wrong frozen wrapper.
Yeah. So we have Ice Cube, just being Ice Cube.
Yes,
really.
Basically.
Yeah.
That's really all he is.
I
just
even
be
read
Ice Cube.
Yeah, even read in the trivia that he basically just improvised all his lines.
Which, doesn't surprise me at all,
No.
because it sounds like Ice Cube.
Well, and at this point, like, he's an accomplished actor.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't his first role. Like, he's been in a lot of movies, and so many of his characters are basically him that it's like, okay, I can be myself. This is easy.
Yeah. Well, and I think they kind of just leaned into that.
Yeah,
at this
of
point,
course they
too.
did. Yeah, they're like, we know what we've got. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
Easy paycheck for Mr. Cube.
Yes. Professor Cube.
Right. And so Dixon assigns them, you're going to Jump Street, and one little part that I thought was funny is, again, like I said, when they lay the jokes out verbally, Offerman's character is like, you guys are going to 37 Jump Street.
37
that's not.
Jump Street. Yeah.
And before he could correct himself, because it's like, Lord and Miller know you guys are watching 21 Jump Street.
Yes.
You're aware of it. Even if you don't get the missed number in the joke, like, you're watching 21 Jump Street. So.
Yeah.
So they are going to become, like, Schmidt and Jenko are going to go back to high school.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to go to Sagan High School because there's a synthetic drug out there, HFS. They watch a YouTube they watch a YouTube video of a kid that we do YouTube videos. Like, I make them for the podcast. Like, this kid takes the drug, records himself on his webcam of every phase of the drug, and then downloads the video footage and then adds transitions and titles. Like, he went through this full-blown drug experience, which takes hours, because the people we see do it in the movie, like, it literally, they start through their phases and it takes them all day long. Like, and then this kid had the wherewithal to be like, all right, now it's time to edit that footage and put it on YouTube.
And then he died.
Then he died, yeah.
After editing it and uploading it.
Yeah. And so...
I will say, Oz, Dixon also tells them, you have two rules. Don't get expelled.
Yeah.
And don't have sexual relations with the teachers or the students.
Right. Which, of course, another one of those verbal cues of, okay, well, we can expect these
those things are going to happen, yes.
Yeah. And so these two they're excited to go back. Schmidt especially, because high school sucked for him.
Yeah, this is a do-over for him.
It's a do-over for him. And Jenko, who was cool in high school, is like, this is going to be a piece of cake.
Yeah, he gets to relive his glory days.
Because I know because really his life hasn't been glorious since then. So he knows, I know what it's like to be cool. It's kind of a fun little scene of, like, telling him, where Jenko is sharing with Schmidt what it means to be cool. Like, you got to do this. It's just, here's the rules. You just don't care about anything. Don't try.
Are you two-strapping that backpack?
Exactly.
You gotta one-strap it.
Exactly. So it's the attention to detail is fun, because it's like, that's what was cool then. And really, they did a really good job of nailing what high school is like a decade ago.
Sure.
They really did.
Yeah.
So they get new identities.
They're brothers.
They're brothers, yeah. Because most people could say that, good luck with that one, But I went to high school with a set of twin brothers that were not identical. And they very much could have been Schmidt and Jenko.
Oh yeah.
One of them was much taller than the other. Like, to look at them, you wouldn't even think they're brothers, let alone twin brothers.
Hmm.
But like, one of them was like, he went down the football path, the other one went golf. Like, to look at these two, you were like, twins? Are you, really? And so I was on board with Schmidt and Jenko being brothers, because it's like, we know they're the same age, or roughly the same age, because of the high school before.
Another possible movie marriage film could have been twins.
It could have been it could have been twins for sure.
He's my brother.
My brother.
My brother.
That was a fun episode. And so, they've got them decked out to where Schmidt's going to be your smart, nerdy kid like before. Jenko's going to be the gifted athlete like before. Well, they get called like right away. They pull into the parking lot. They park in the handicap space.
Because that's cool.
Because it's cool.
Because it's cool.
Yeah. They pull into the handicap spot. And then Jenko's completely out of his element, because there's so many like sub cliques of kids that he has no idea who or what they represent.
Yep.
And then they get to the cool kids, and the cool kids are all two-strapping it and studying and caring about the environment, like everything.
Yeah, they're making fun of Jenko's gas guzzler.
Yeah, exactly. Like everything that it flies in the face of what Jenko thought was cool. Mm-hmm. Now, here, like 7 years ago, like, I don't know. Like,
you don't want to get too lost in the math there. But
it's a stretch. Like, there's been growth. Like, kids today are more aware, but 7 years later, I don't think so.
That's not that long of a time period. Yeah.
And on top of that, like, obviously this isn't the same high school they graduated from.
Yeah.
But that was it too. Is I'm like, nobody recognizes these guys, and so they get. Jenko punches the gay black kid in the face. And then they get called to the principal's office where...
Would you punch him because he's gay? What? No?
Punch
him because he's black? What?
I was gay before you punched me. I like Schmidt's like, well, it actually would have been more of a hate crime if we didn't punch him, because Principal Spider-Man calls him in, and Jenko can't remember which brother he is, which one of the McQuaid brothers he is.
McQuaid.
So they now switch identities.
Because Dixon had picked classes for them in a persona based off who they are and what they're good at.
So now Jonah Hill is like the athletic one, and Jenko's the smart one, which of course is like, okay, now it's going to get even funnier, because these are, it's like how, can a fish be out of water twice? That's what this is. So
like they take him out of the water, but then they put him back in like salt water instead of fresh water.
Exactly. So we get a whole bunch of just different scenes of them trying to survive in their new being or whatever.
Jenko has to attend app chemistry.
Yeah, app chemistry. Well, and it was funny because like Jenko was supposed to be like the drama nerd / athlete, which was a weird combo.
Yeah.
I understood Schmidt in the intelligent one, but it just was like, Jenko and drama, really? And so Schmidt ends up in drama class and befriends Molly, which he saw her riding her bike out in the parking lot, and he instantly fell for her, which is a little because again, these guys are like 25.
And she's at most 18.
Yeah. Well, they did say in the movie, there was one comment about her being 18.
Okay, so I didn't catch that.
Yeah, she is 18 years old, and I think that was done on purpose.
Still.
Yeah, it is. Like, but I think they put her, like, she said, or it was, because it was when they were on the phone with each other, and his mom, and then Schmidt's mom picked up the phone, and he's yelling at his mom, and talking about, just how overprotective she is, and et cetera. And then she's like, oh, I don't even have any stuffed animals. My dad gave me one when he ran out on us, whatever. She makes a comment about being 18.
Okay.
But it was like literally half a sentence once in this movie, and other than that, if you missed it, you're like, he's a 25-year-old cop.
Yeah.
And she's a high school student, and
On a
he's like,
bicycle.
smitten with her, like
Yeah.
instantly.
I mean, I
Like,
know she's Captain Marvel, but still.
I mean, and this is still babyface Brie Larson.
Yeah.
You know, this is like Scott Pilgrim.
Hmm.
Like just round face Brie Larson.
Yeah.
And he's all like, wowzers. Um, so he's overdoing it, trying to figure out, hey, how do I get a hookup?
Yeah.
How do I get a hookup? And Molly's like, like, I'm not really into that stuff, but he sees a phone number on the back of a chair in drama class, calls it, gets the hookup. So Schmidt and Jenko meet up with the better Franco brother, Dave. I like Dave better than James.
Well, Dave hasn't had scandals and
Well,
hasn't
that's
demonstrated himself to be.
Yeah, that's why I like Dave better than James. And so they go see Eric. Eric's work, like, he's like yearbook editor. Which is just kind of funny because it's like, when you and I are in high school, the kids that did drugs were obviously the kids that did drugs.
Yes.
But they've since escalated themselves to being functional parts of the school. Like,
yeah, he's the yearbook editor. He's trying to get into Berkeley.
Right. Yeah. It's like
he's going to Berkeley.
But it just shows like just how much, like how gray the moral and ethical line is, because he just lectures him out in the parking lot for driving a gas guzzler and punching his gay friend, but at the same time is like selling lethal narcotics to high school kids, for $20. It's like, it's terrible. He makes them take it right in front of him, to make sure they're not narcs, because you know who calls people narcs? A narcs. Which of course they're like, well, then you would be a narc, and because but he makes it take it right in front of him. Of course, we've already seen in that YouTube video the four stages. The 4 stages. This might be my favorite. Like, I enjoy this movie, but this is probably my favorite part of the movie. Is when they leave Eric, and then the 4 stages start, and they get caught with the coach. This high school's got weird schedules going on.
Yeah, it does.
Like track meets in the middle of the day, apparently. Like drama performances like 10 minutes before school's over. Like it's just really weird. But yeah, so Coach Riggle is obviously confused because Jenko looks like he would be the athlete. Schmidt not so much. And then all these stages start, and we really see Lord and Miller have a lot of fun here. Yeah.
You see through their eyes what's happening as the drugs kick in.
It's great. It really, like, this is as close to the Lego movie as you're going to get in this movie.
Yeah, it just gets silly.
Yeah, just silly. Like, at one point, Wriggle's head turns into a talking ice cream cone.
Yeah. And like his eyebrows move all over his face.
which was pretty funny. Like, it's a fun scene because not only is the crazy stuff happening and we see it through Schmidt and Jenko's eyes, but then cutting away to Schmidt and Jenko and watching. We know Jonah Hill is funny, but I don't think people knew Channing Tatum was funny before this movie.
No. I don't think anybody expected that out of him.
And so seeing, like, he's just hysterical. Just watching him hold that face when he's laughing and doing the tongue thing, and when he asks him a yes or no question. And just watching Jonah Hill shake his head like this, like he turns his whole body. Oh my God, it's just so funny. So anyway, Schmidt's got a track meet in a half hour, apparently.
Sure, because why not?
Right. And so, let's see. Yeah, I got mixed up here. So after the drug's effects take place, they've got this track meet, which he's still in. And Jonah Hill is like trying to run and like the third leg of the 4x4 or something
Yeah.
like that, and he just starts batting batons out of the other racer. Like it's just so funny. Um,
He throws the baton
oh
across
yeah,
the finish line.
that'll win it for him. But what this does is it really endears him to Eric's crew because this crew, especially Eric, is like he enjoys watching the world burn for his enjoyment.
Yeah. Yeah. Social institutions he's not a fan of.
And so watching Schmidt like destroy this track meet to him was like that was great. Like you really stuck it to him. So Jenko, he's headed off to science class. Well, he's already been in science class. He introduces himself to Ellie Kemper, who, yeah,
and as you mentioned before, funny performance. Ellie
Yeah.
Kemper is funny, but she is clearly smitten with
Yeah.
Jenko.
physically, like
Yes.
100% physically.
Yeah.
And-
Despite the
and-
fact that she thinks that he's no older than 18.
Right. And over the last 11 years at least, there have been an explosion of teachers getting caught with relations with their students. Many of the times because the students ratted them out, which is great, but it's like, why don't you rat them out before you do physical things with them? Like, once they start coming on to you kids, here's your lesson. Students, if a teacher makes inappropriate suggestions towards you, don't pursue those suggestions and then turn them in. Just turn them in.
Yeah. Just yeah.
You'll get the same result.
Yeah. Although I will say that they are still clearly the victims here.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and 16, 17-year-olds, if not even younger than that, trying to make sense of what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, those predators are skilled, and even the ones that get caught, like that's a whole nother video for another day.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's our other podcast. Let's talk about boundaries.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, so Ellie Kemper is it's funny performance like you said, but uncomfortable to watch because she can't even think straight when Jenko's around. And he doesn't ever thankfully he never leans into that with her.
Yeah, he's just kind of confused.
Yeah, it's weird that he is confused because we know he's a 25-year-old man.
Yeah.
And she's clearly coming on to him, but he doesn't ever really seem to be picking up what she's putting down, despite the fact that it's extremely obvious. Like I said, Eric likes Schmidt. Schmidt and Molly now are closer because they're kind of in the same social circle. Jenko gets in tight with the AP chemistry nerds, which I love those guys. I really, especially like the lead nerd, who's so socially awkward. But I love that dynamic that they build up. And Jenko starts to find out he kind of actually likes the stuff.
Yeah.
And that side of the world, those geeky hobbies, but of course he's still a cop first. Like he comes into the bio lab and these guys are in there playing a game, and they're getting ready to play like this card game. He's like, we're getting ready to deal this. He's like, oh, are those drugs? They're playing like Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, it's like D&D or something. Yeah.
And so Schmidt and Jenko, I feel like I'm just rambling on. We haven't really gotten anywhere. Schmidt and Jenko, being brothers, they get the opportunity. They're staying with Schmidt's parents. They talk them into leaving so they can throw a party. And the party is pretty boring at first, and then like a rival drug dealing group shows up, and hilarity ensues, and a big fight breaks out. Schmidt's mom forgets her phone and has to come back and breaks the party up. But not before they desecrate the Fred Savage, Jay Leno, like real life Jonah Hill.
Real Jonah Hill, like 6-year-old Jonah Hill picture. Yeah.
And so Schmidt gets invited into Eric's inner circle because of this
he's
party.
earned their trust.
Right. How'd you like to make a little money?
Took a knife to the back.
Yeah, and that's really the whole point of this undercover operation is not to get the dealers, but to work your way up to the suppliers.
Yeah.
And so, Jenko invites his app chemistry nerds. They hack Eric's phone because it's like Jenko and Schmidt are working together, but they've really drifted apart to where like Jenko's doing cop things without Schmidt knowing, and so
Schmidt's just trying to make friends.
Yeah, like he really is leaning into this. I'm back in high school, and this is how. Like he even says, if I only would have been born like 7 years later or something, like that I would have been a cool kid. And so the after party heads back to Eric's house. Jenko and his friends are listening in on the phone hack, and they hear Eric's going to meet up with the supplier.
Yep.
Unfortunately, as movies like this are going to happen, you hear disparaging comments from Schmidt. Again, he doesn't. I don't think he means them, but he's leaning into his role. Well, Jenko takes him seriously.
Personally, yeah.
And so, Eric is going to meet up with a supplier. They mention a pinata. Schmidt and Jenko start drifting apart because their roles and their like, especially Schmidt. Schmidt's so far deep into this undercover student role that he's living that life more than he's living.
He's lost in the role. He's too deep, Oz. He's deep.
He's in too deep. So we got this Peter Pan performance. Like Schmidt's still flirting with Molly a lot. He asks her to prom. She says yes. Jenko's actually proud of him. Like even though it still should be a giant red flag.
Yeah.
Like you guys are cops. Don't forget this.
Yes.
But he's still like good for you because he figures he's gonna choke. He always chokes.
Yeah.
Like I watched him choke in high school.
Yeah. So he didn't choke this time, and that's what Jenko's proud of.
Actually starts choking.
And literally, and Jenko's even like, he's literally choking.
Yeah, he's like, that's literally the choking sound. Like, we get ready for this Peter Pan performance, and Jenko's giving his speech on, what is some covalent bond.
Covalent bonds.
He sees Eric, and I don't even know the other kid's name. It doesn't matter. He sees Eric with a pinata. So he goes and gets Schmidt out of... Like, I don't understand how this works. Because...
At school, yeah.
Jenko is in class, and he goes and pulls Schmidt out of...
Like the dressing room.
The dressing room of the play that's about to go on.
It's a block schedule is what they're using, guys.
Apparently. So they team back up. They chase down Eric. They get to the 1%er. Although they come across Eric, who he realizes that they're giving to the 1%ers.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's this. They end up taking the driver's ed car because their car got a parking boot on it for the excessive tickets for parking in the handicap spot.
Because Jenko apparently refused to stop doing it. Because that's cool to him.
Yeah. Well, and even he told Schmidt, you told me to ignore the tickets. Like, and so there's this fun, like high speed motorcycle chase on like the freeway.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently this high school is right by the freeway, which could have completely been avoided, but Schmidt's driving the driver's ed car, but of course there's got the teacher system set up on the other side. And Jenko, I'll give Jenko props. Like he knew cop stuff here is like, do not follow any closer.
Yeah.
Like you could tell, you're close enough. Of course they get into an argument. They end up knocking over the big guy who then proceeds to jump on the car.
It's literally stomping the driver's ed car.
So, there's this bit, kind of a fun little sequence. At one point they hit like a fuel tanker, expecting an explosion. Nothing happened.
It says flammable gas all over it.
And they're like, no, duck. It's like, again, verbalizing the joke and then nothing happens. And then verbalizing that nothing happened. There was something. What was the next thing that should have blown up and didn't?
Well, the first one, it was several like propane canisters.
Oh, that's right.
And then the second one was a big tanker that says
Okay, yeah.
oil and fuel on the side.
And then the third one was just one of the biker guys ran his motorcycle into a truck full of chickens.
And then that's what explodes.
And that explodes. And of course they address it like I would have thought it would be one of the other two. So the play goes on without Schmidt. Schmidt shows back up and like just comes right out on stage, kicks the other guy out, like makes man
Right in the middle of everything.
right in the middle of his scene. Molly wants nothing to do with him because she's already embarrassed him enough.
Yeah.
Then Jenko shows up, and Jenko and Schmidt start fighting right there on the stage. Of course, at this point, Schmidt has kind of earned friends with the drama guys, so they're like, he's Peter Pan, so he's already on wires. So they just keep like raising. I like it's just knockdown drag out fight shows up. And of course, one of the things that always happens in movies that drives me nuts is when kids are just told they're expelled. Like, you're expelled.
Yep. Yeah. The principal runs on the stage, just goes, "You're expelled."
Right, you're both expelled. Which it can't happen that way. Like expulsions require, it's basically like a court case. It requires a hearing and the jury of school board members, and it's like, no, principals can't just expel kids.
That's not how that works. Legally, legally, it's not how that works.
You can suspend them, absolutely, but no, you can't just. You guys are expelled, and
that's
then
not how that happens.
And then it sticks.
Yeah.
And because they get expelled, they get fired from Jump Street.
Chris Parnell's character comes out on the stage after all this has happened and goes, "And that's the end of Act 2."
At one point he's like, I should be doing something right now.
And funnily enough, in addition to it just being a funny line and the timing of it, it was the end of the second act of the movie.
Of the movie, And so, of course, now they're split up. Like, they go their separate ways.
Dixon fires them.
Yeah, they get fired from Jump Street. We get yet another montage of what these two are doing with their separated time. Eric, who's now stressed out, he brings he comes in because Jenko's got to move out. Schmidt pulls up. No, Jenko's moving out of Schmidt's. Eric pulls up. He's like, "Get in the car." Basically, they're afraid because he gets two guns out, and they're like, "Oh my god, he's going to kill us." But he doesn't. He basically hires them to be security because
he needs protection. He knew that the cops showed up to that drug deal with
of course he didn't know it was them. So he hires them on as security detail because there's going to be a deal going down at prom. Of course, it was kind of a fun scene where he gives them these guns and then just try to shoot those bottles over there. Of course, they've got cop training, so they just destroy these bottles. Well, that was pretty good.
Beginner's luck.
So we get kind of a cute little endearing scene of Schmidt and Jenko getting ready for prom. And like Schmidt helps him with his bow tie, and Jenko's like, your shotgun's showing. When they get to prom, of course, prom is at this hotel, so it's way up in the upper suite. This is where they realize that Mr. Walters, the PE teacher, is the supplier. He created the drugs accidentally, and then started selling it to students because he needed to pay alimony.
That's why.
Right. And when he caught Eric smoking pot, he realized, I might be able to persuade him into deal for me. And so we've got prom. The deal's going on upstairs. Molly has taken a hit of HFS. And so she's going through her stages.
Yeah.
The 1%ers show up at the deal upstairs. Domingo recognizes Schmidt and Jenko and gets ordered to kill him. This is where Tom Hansen and Doug Penhall, which were from the previous 80s version of Jump Street. Again, don't forget, this is good movies based on TV shows.
Yes.
This is where they reveal themselves to be DEA agents. And then the movie, like, hits pause for like a good 30 seconds
Uh-huh.
so that Johnny Depp could Johnny Depp.
Could be Johnny Depp.
Yeah. Like everybody's got guns pointed at each other, and then Johnny Depp's character just stops doing the undercover thing to talk about prosthetic noses and
Yeah.
and then I really do give a lot of props to Lord Miller here, because then Depp just gets like shot through the throat. Like
Yeah.
you don't see many Johnny Depp death scenes. It's
especially
really,
especially one that's gruesome.
Yeah,
Well,
like-
well, with maybe Nightmare Before
Not-
Elm Street being the
yeah,
exception.
Nightmare on Elm Street for sure.
But that's when he was
Um,
still John Depp.
Yeah, that was his first role. But yeah, like it's one of these where it's almost like they realize we have Johnny Depp in our cast,
Yeah,
and
we gotta,
now-
let him talk and look like Johnny Depp. at
and
least
we're
for a
going to
moment.
reveal him and let him be Johnny Depp. But then almost like they could play with it and be like, now we're going to do what no one expects and just kill him.
Yes, and he and Peter DeLuise just go down in a hail of
Oh,
bullets.
they do. It's like John Woo movie all of a
Yeah.
sudden. There's so many bullets coming out of these 6-shooters.
Yeah.
But these two they've got nothing but squibs on, and they are just exploding with blood. It's a fun scene. So there's a bunch of gunfire. Like Schmidt doesn't know what he's doing. He's shooting the ceiling.
Yeah.
Jinko's doing Jinko stuff.
Yes. He
Mis-
eventually takes out a couple of the guys.
Yeah, he does. Walters takes Eric and Molly hostage, basically, and the money. The gang, Schmidt, Jenko, like everybody is, pursuing Walters. Then there's like a limousine chase. Like Walters is driving one limousine, and Molly's hit like phase 4. She's like passed out now.
Yeah.
You got Schmidt driving the next limo with Jenko doing the gun stuff. And then there's another like high school student passed out in the back of this that Jenko's trying to contend with while he's
Yes.
like, she's trying to do different things with him, and he's like, don't have time for this.
She's trying to be friendly with.
Yeah,
Jinko.
very, very friendly.
Very friendly.
Meanwhile, the gang is chasing in a third limo. The Jinko in his science training quickly like MacGyver's a bomb.
Yeah.
Out of, like,
covalent bond, something.
Right. He just like MacGyver's this bomb out of like a flask of whiskey or whatever.
Yeah.
Throws it. It perfectly lands in the next limo because it's going to. Like that's just what
Of
it's
course it
supposed
is.
to do.
That's how these movies work.
So that limousine explodes, kills the gang. At one point, earlier in the movie, Jenko told Schmidt, I'd have taken a bullet for you.
Yeah.
Like, I really thought, I got to the point I really thought we were brothers, and I would have taken a bullet for you. Well, here's his chance. Walters tries to shoot Schmidt. Jenko jumps in front, takes the bullet to his arm. Schmidt then, I also could have put Loaded Weapon 1 in my movie.
Come on, partner, shoot him! Shoot him! Shoot him! Shoot him! Shoot him!
Schmidt does shoots him right in the groin.
Yes.
Like severs his manhood.
Yeah, it somehow falls out of his pants.
Yeah, just falls out like a finger. He's like, of course, Walters doesn't just keel over. He continues to talk through it and tell jokes.
Well, he continues to say what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
You shot me in the.
Yeah. Then proceeds to try to pick it up with his mouth.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to lose it.
No.
I always lose it when he's trying to pick it up with his mouth and then it falls out of his mouth.
Yeah.
I laugh so hard every time. So Mr. Walters and Eric get arrested for being, dealing and supplying the drugs. They
read him as Miranda rights.
Yeah, they do correctly read him as Miranda rights. Schmidt and Molly kiss, which, yeah. They both get reinstated into Jump Street, and then Dixon gives them their new assignment. You're going to college.
You two SOBs.
Yeah. My favorite line from this movie is not appropriate for the podcast, but when Dakota Johnson and her partner, who have infiltrated another high school and are like taking. It seemed like they're closing cases every week.
Yeah.
They come back dressed as cheerleaders. They come back dressed as like marching band members. Like
Yeah.
they're shutting this stuff down. And when it's the cheerleader part where they're getting ready to leave, and it's like we've got Schmidt and Jenko, and then these two female cops, and I don't know who the African American actress is, but she makes a comment like we're doing this where you guys are off finger beeping, you're beeping, and then of course Schmidt repeats it back to her in the same cadence, and it's just it's so funny. It might be my funniest line from this movie for me, but this movie's hilarious. And ladies and gentlemen, that is 21 Jump Street with a perfect segue into 22 Jump Street. Like,
Yes.
you guys going to college, and then they're like, well, we might as well do it.
Yeah, I love the end credit sequence as well.
Yeah,
It's like it's just there's like it cuts to like the American flag and eagles, and there's like Wilhelm screams and people crashing into things, and then like it cuts to like one of the charred corpses of the one percenters, like outside the limo, and just sizzling. Like
it's just such a wild it's almost like Lord and Miller or we're gonna direct our own credits, because I mean I enjoy the end credits of 22 Jump Street just as much.
Oh yeah, it's where it's just cutting out like the different genres.
Yeah, they just really lean into it, and so this is a movie based on TV shows done right.
Yes, yeah.
They're aware of the source material. They're going to have fun living within the world of the source material, but they're going to make fun of the source material as well. And it's something that Dukes of Hazzard didn't do. Baywatch did. To a degree, but they
tried, but it just
it's just they weren't funny enough. And of course Wild Wild West,
Wicked Wild.
But that's 21 Jump Street.
That is 21 Jump Street. At this point in the show, folks, Oz and I each give our own unique rating to the film we've been yapping about. In this case, 21 Jump Street. 21 Jump Street. Oz, how would you rate this flick?
I'm going to give this one 21 Jump Streets.
21 out of 21 Jump Streets.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about you?
I'm going to go with 37 Jump Streets.
I almost went with 37.
Yeah, 37 out of 21 Jump Streets.
I was scrolling through here, and I didn't know this. I'm looking at Wikipedia. Mark Mothersbaugh did the score for this movie.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a busy man. He does a lot.
Oh,
the founder of Devo does a lot of music scores.
When we were on vacation last week, we turned on the TV and I was like, well, what can we put on that's just on?
Sure.
And I think it was Roku, just Roku channels. But there was just a channel that's nothing but Yo Gabba Gabba.
Okay.
I think we had that on for 2 days. Because we watched it a lot when my daughter was young. And so she vaguely remembered some of it. My son didn't remember any of it. But, of course, Mark Mothersbaugh does a lot of the music for that show as well. And I do. Yeah, he's a busy guy. He and Danny Elfman have transitioned very well for themselves.
Oingo Boingo and Devo. Yep.
So...
All right.
But that's 21 and 37 Jump Streets. Fair enough.
Next up, folks, we got Outside Insights. Oz and I have scoured the interwebs, looking, searching, yearning for unprofessional reviews that tickle our funny bones, and we hope they tickle yours as well. Oz, what do you got as an Outside Insight?
We got a 5-star review from Letterboxd from 24 Frames of Nick. He says, on March 24th, 2023, Kanye West said he's no longer anti-Semitic because of this movie and Jonah Hill. 5 stars.
5 stars. Yeah, this movie oddly came up about a year ago from the time of this recording, where Kanye West cited this movie as correcting himself.
Yeah, I'm not anti-Semitic anymore.
Because I like Jonah Hill in 21 Jump Street.
Yeah.
Cured.
What an idiot.
The magic elixir that is 21 Jump Street.
Nice job, all involved with this movie, because you've made this world one person safer for all of the Jewish people. Kanye West.
Yes, go away.
Yes.
Go away, Kanye. Well, hey, Oz, I've got two
Ooh,
outside
I would
insights.
like to hear them.
The first one is a 1 out of 10 review from the Internet Movie Database from, yeah, I'm not going to say that person's name. This is it's the title is 21 Junk Street. I can't understand why there are certain people who constantly hype this movie on the IMDb and criticize other better movies. I guess they must be paid to do so. Certainly seems plausible now that I've watched this crap fest. Do you remember the abysmal Ben Stiller butchering of Starsky and Hutch? 21 Jump Street is worse than that. Tatum is even more of a charisma vacuum than Chris O'Donnell. Still, he's better than Jonah Hill. Superbad wasn't just the title of his breakthrough movie, it's a description of his entire career.
Oh, this guy is hilarious.
Uh-huh. What did Chris O'Donnell do to deserve that?
Nothing. Chris O'Donnell's a delight.
I love it when like other people just get randomly dropped.
I know,
in
but
reviews.
yeah, this guy's like the Yakov Smirnoff of movie reviews.
My other one also is a 1 out of 10 review from the Internet Movie Database.
Oh, that's sad.
This is from Dixie 2, the sequel.
Dixie Harder.
Yes. I like the original. Yeah, I like the original show. Moving on. I knew that this movie wouldn't be as good. I wasn't prepared for how horrible it was. If I had my own car with me, I would have walked out.
Come on, Beth, let's go. No, I'm enjoying myself.
Wish I had my car with me.
God, if I had my own car, I would just leave.
Oh, if only I had my own car.
Oh, catch a ride to this crap fest.
I don't have my own car, so I gotta sit through the rest of it.
Ugh. My cats have heard all about how much I don't like this movie.
Yep. So, those are my two outside insights. If only I had my car with me.
Of all days to carpool.
I would have turned on 70s at 7 to flush this out of my system.
Gosh.
Arr.
AM radio's better than this.
Turned on the CB.
I only had my own car.
Oh, all right, folks. It's that point in the show you've all been waiting for. Our signature segment, the 3-2-1, in which Oz and I each share 3 goods, 2 bads, and 1 about the movie in question. In this case, 21 Jump Street. Oz, what are your 3 goods?
I really like the Hill and Tatum chemistry in this movie.
Yes.
The whole movie rested on those 4 shoulders, and if those 2 didn't match up well, this movie would have fallen completely apart.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
We've seen Hill. I think he's a charismatic actor anyway, because there aren't really any roles that you watch and you're like, that's a Jonah Hill movie. Like, he's always with someone.
Yeah.
It's always Seth Rogen or, Michael Cera or Channing Tatum or even Russell Brand, or Leonardo DiCaprio or Brad Pitt. Like, he's that great other guy as an actor. And I think he knows that about himself, which I think just speaks volumes. It's like, I'm not trying to go out and lead a movie necessarily. So I really love that chemistry of those 2. I really like Tatum's comedy chops. Mm-hmm. Like, he kind of surprised people the same way like Chris Hemsworth surprised people as Thor. Like,
yes.
You look at him and you're like, that's, he's muscle, he's an athletic guy.
Sure.
That's Magic Mike. That's that's who he is. But it's like, no, he's a funny dude. And so I really enjoy that from him. Especially in these movies, but I think he's landed other roles because of it as well. Like, I don't mind Channing Tatum as an actor. I think he gets typecast a lot, like White House Down. It's a fun movie. It really is a fun movie. It's it falls into that like Roland Emmerich style.
Sure, you turn your brain off and
let it go and watch the movie. That's a fun movie. But he just made a movie. I think it come out last year called Dog, where it's him and he's returning. When he was in the armed forces in this movie, like one of his mates, was like Canine Division or whatever, and the guy died, and it's his job to return the dog, like take the dog to the funeral, and it's like a kind of a cross country trip with him and a dog, and it's a sweet, endearing movie because he's dealing with PTSD and concussion issues, and the dog is obviously been trained for military combat and is now trying to, it's a sweet movie. It really is, and so seeing him, be able to perform in different genres other than let's get his shirt off so you can see his six pack is kind of nice. And then my third good is the 4 stages of drug sequence.
Yeah.
which they previewed it watching that YouTube video, and then when they took a hit from Eric, and then watching that play out and letting Lord and Miller just do their thing.
Yeah.
And Tatum and Tatum and Hill do their thing. It's like, when you're seeing, like, even Channing Tatum goes back to chemistry class, and you're seeing the camera angle from the board's point of view as he's like, you take this and you mix it with the flux capacitor and carry the 2, and he's just writing the number 4 all
it's just everywhere.
And he like mic drops the marker, and it's just, like they both did such a great job, and that whole sequence is just so much fun. So those are my 3 goods. What do you got?
My 3 goods, I'm going to start with, let's see. I'll start with just Lord and Miller themselves. This movie is hysterical. They nailed, again, as opposed to last month, bad movies based on TV shows. This is how you do this kind of thing correctly.
Right.
Lord and Miller had done a couple of things prior to this. They had done, was it Clone High? They had done Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Right.
But I would argue this is really what kind of launched them. This led into the Lego Movie. This led into the criminally underrated show Last Man on Earth with Will Forte.
I forgot they were part of that.
Yeah, this led into the Spider-Man, into the Spider-Verse movies. Lord and Miller just this was a launching point for them, and they deserve all the kudos that they get.
Absolutely.
My second good is the completely unnecessary to the plot, but hysterical scene in the shoe store. Schmidt's at the mall with Eric and a couple of buddies, and runs into like an elderly female family friend, like it's like a friend of his mom's.
Yeah.
And almost blows his cover, and she's calling him Schmidt, Schmitty, from across the store, and he runs up to her and he's like, shut your mouth, stop talking, shut your mouth. He's like, he like grabs her lips and like holds them closed, and she's still going, and eventually he just pushes her to a stack of shoes, and says something crude, she tried to grab me, to Eric and his buddies, to try to maintain his cover. But that again, completely unnecessary scene, but just hysterical.
Yeah, it was funny. Yeah, your mother said you were being undercover. Like,
undercover right now. Are you undercover? Are you undercover right now? And then my last, I'm just going to kind of combine a bunch of bunch of ones that I have here as possibilities. Just the gags in this movie. Just some of the side, just the dumb gags, like Channing, like the high Channing Tatum, the high Jenko diving through a gong in the
like stuff like that. It's just funny.
Mr. Walters heckling Doug from the Peter Pan audience. Just Chris Parnell being Chris Parnell. App chemistry. And my personal favorite towards the end of the movie where Mr. Walters has the gun on Molly, and Molly turns to Eric in the limo, and she's like, do something, and he just whines. He just goes just the little gags throughout this movie. So that's my third good. Oz, what do you got for your 2 bads?
My first one is the adult student relationships in this movie. We've got we'll call it 1.5. Sure. The Schmidt Molly romance.
Yeah.
Which which hit like from he gets out of the car his first day undercover, sees her, and that's all he's locked in on. I want to be with Molly. Like, I understand you're undercover, but like you know you're 7 years older than this girl.
Yep.
And you don't care. Like, you ask her to prom, and but he's emotionally really doing that.
Yeah.
You know, he's not doing it because I got to get in with the crew. Like,
Yeah,
no.
he's 18 again.
Yeah, and so that was uncomfortable. The other half is Ellie Kemper's teacher.
Yeah.
Like, just fawning over Jenko. And granted, he doesn't lean into it, which is why it's just 1.5.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really inappropriate. And then my second bad is, I mentioned it last month. You know, even it's like, oh, here are the cameos. Now
Yep.
they did a good job with the cameos of, you know, let's bring them out. And I mean, there were a lot of cameos from the original Jump Street in this. Like, all but 2 characters were back in the movie. And it's like, the Holly Robinson, Pete, whatever. Like that,
I'm gonna be that gross guy right now. Holly Robinson, Pete. Yes, please.
That's okay. That's not gross. She's older than we are. You know, it'd be different if you're like 18-year-old Brie Larson. Yes, please. You know?
No.
But it's like her. You know, like, she was there, but they didn't draw attention to her, like, reprising her role. Like,
Yeah.
like, those kind of cameos are fine because she's actually playing a role in the film. Like, she shows them their cars and she takes it, and that's it. She's gone. You know, but the whole, like, peeling it off, letting Johnny Depp be Johnny Depp, it's like, ugh. And then of course they take him out in a blaze of glory, so you know they're not going to be back for the sequel. But it's like that's just my second bad. Is it's like you got to have the dumb cameo scenes, and I just think they're annoying. So that's my 2 bads. What do you got?
My 2 bads, like, basically your bads were going to be mine. So,
Sorry.
No, it is what it is. My first bad, some of the second act stuff was kind of boring. Some, like, the Schmidt Molly stuff, Jenko and the nerds. Like, it was fun, especially the Jenko and the nerd stuff, but it just, I don't know, it just drug on a little bit.
Right,
so
I did.
Some of the second act stuff, just kind of pick up the pace a little bit here. And then the other one, Ice Cube, I think had like 3rd billing in this movie, and he was on screen for a total of like 90 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. Just yelling.
Yes, and granted, I think a significantly more amount of Ice Cube would have been bad, but a little bit more would have been nice.
Right.
Give me a little more Ice Cube
For being 3rd billing.
Yes, and like almost 0 Nick Offerman. So.
Right.
But whatever. I'm nitpicking there.
That's all right.
So, Oz, what's your one for 21 Jump Street?
Why is Rob Riggle so loud? Like, everything he's in, he's just amped up. Like, I like Rob Riggle, but he is very much a one-trick pony. Yeah, and really that's it. It's like, when you see him, you know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
So, but why is he so loud? Like, and he's so, I don't know. I mean, like, especially in this, like, nothing fazed him.
Yeah.
Like, you're in a shootout with these major, like, biker gang, and he's just cracking jokes.
Yeah.
And he's running the lead in a getaway, cracking jokes. He gets his manhood shot off, cracking joke. It's like like Eric had more dramatic range in this movie, you know, of going from whiny to confident, but it's like. And then there's Rob Riggle. That's like, hey, you know what you hired me for, folks. You know exactly what you're getting if you get out of my way and let me do it. And
let him do his one thing.
Yeah, and so that's my why is he so loud?
Yeah, it's like David Koechner. Same
thing.
Oh
yeah. When you see David Koechner in a movie, you know you're getting whammy.
Todd Packer.
Yeah, exactly.
Why does everybody think that I like William Hung?
It is a funny joke.
Yeah.
For those that know who William Hung is.
Yes. Yeah, that joke will not age well. But...
No. So what's your
My hunt was originally going to be you can't expel someone on the spot. But we've kind of already covered that. So I'm going to go with my alternate why can't Dakota Johnson be as funny in anything else she's done as she was in this movie?
I know she was good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Maybe she's overexposed now, But
Right.
like, again, she only had a couple of minutes of screen time in this, but she was funny. She was funny in this movie. Like,
Yeah.
do more of that.
I watched a movie late last year, Dakota Johnson. It's a little indie film called Cha Cha Real Smooth.
Hmm.
It's not funny. It's a comedy drama, but she's not the comedy part. It was good. It was good. So I recommend checking that out. Leslie Mann's in it. Brad
Okay.
Garrett's in it. It was a sweet little movie.
I will have to give that a view.
Yeah, she did a good job in it.
All right. Well, hey, Oz, that's 21 Jump Street.
What do we got next month? Or what next month? What do we got next week?
Next week, as we continue with good movies based on TV shows, we are going to take a literal dive, a high dive here, into The Fugitive,
Ooh.
starring Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford, you find that man. I didn't kill my wife.
I'm Richard Kimball.
It's a Provasic. Devlin McGregor.
I got a bad feeling about this.
It's a one-armed man.
So my wife and I watched it last night.
Mhm.
First time viewer. Never seen it before.
It's a good movie. It's a really good movie.
Yeah.
It's a very, and I'm really going to lean into this more next week, but it's a very Chicago movie.
Oh, very much so. Yeah. And yeah.
Yeah, again, spoiling a little bit for next week. The two detectives who they keep cutting to
Oh yeah.
are like
they're like just like duh bears.
they're like, yeah, exactly. They're like walking Italian beef sandwiches.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They are like those guys are.
Yeah.
Yep.
If only Singletary was playing the Mike linebacker again.
Yeah. Those two are definitely more Boers than Bernstein.
Yeah.
For sure. Duh bears.
The Bears. The Fugitive.
Those guys. The one especially. Like
The guy, the mustache guy.
Yes.
Yeah, the guy with the big. Yeah, the
his
yeah.
face was like caved in like Chicago. Like, why are your lips caved in? So much Italian beef.
It's a lot of au jus.
I just constantly shoving Buca de Beppo right down the face.
Pass me the Giardinera. We gotta shoot to kill on Richard Kimball.
That's right. He's a cop killer.
He's a cop killer.
Yeah, you're right. Those two were like, you look like Chicago.
Yeah, it's that you couldn't have said it better. They are the walking personification of Chicago.
They are. They just always look cold.
Yeah, and disgruntled about something.
Oh, something. Yeah. Just all this. Action.
Richard Dent's on the injured list.
Why don't we trade Gardaki?
Kevin Butler shanked another extra point.
Yeah, they do. You're right. That movie is very Chicago.
Yeah, so we got The Fugitive to look forward to next week. Very, very good movie.
It was, yeah. Like I said, having not seen it before, there are parts, and I think mainly because we turned it on at like 10:30 last night.
Sure.
And it's like, oh my god, this is the longest movie I've ever seen. But
it's over 2 hours. Yep.
Yeah. But at the same time, like it from beginning to end, it was good. Like just very. I mean, nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
You know.
Tommy Lee Jones won,
Like for
won
Best
an
Picture,
Academy Award.
it was nominated for several Oscars.
Yeah.
But one Tommy Lee. It was a great movie. It really was. It was really good. So
yeah, so we got that to look forward to next week, guys.
yeah, we do. So, and then I'm excited for next month already.
Yeah. Oh, God, I forget. Let me bring it up. I forget what's next month.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's another 5-week month in August.
I knew it was something
I might change my second one, and then of course, I don't know. Should we try to hunt down a guest? Well, I think we should. We could talk off air.
Sure.
My brother was interested
Mm-hmm.
in being a guest.
That's right. A wide variety of movies for next month that we're looking at.
Very much so. Very, very much so. Well, but we still have to get through July. So
And we got some fun stuff this month too.
Yeah. The Fugitive for next week. and yeah, we'll double up. So you're gonna see whatever clothing you see in the Fugitive episode, you will also see in the following episode, because it's summer. We take vacations. Like
Yes,
if
we
you
do.
were listening, you may have noticed that the Dukes of Hazzard Baywatch outfits were the same because I went on vacation for a week, so we had to double up. And you're going
You're
on vacation for a couple of weeks, so we got to double up.
uh-huh. Have to change shirts halfway in
Yeah,
between.
I'm not doing it. I'll just take mine off.
I'm gonna shave.
I'm just gonna take my shirt off.
Should have done that for the Baywatch episode.
I got a couple of new additions back here.
Oh, yeah?
Father's Day. Yeah. My daughter crocheted me a ghost face.
Very cool. Your
I
daughter,
know.
she's so talented.
She's great. She is great. And but yeah, it's fun. Also, I forgot about this one. Got a little poster here that for my other show, Education.
I saw you post about the poster. Excellent, yeah.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about it because we went on vacation. But yeah, it's like 100. Yeah, it's like 100 horror movie checklist kind of thing. And you know how I like my checklists. So.
Yes, yep.
All right, well, that wraps up 21 Jump Street. I was looking, that movie made a ton of money.
Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah, it's like $40 million budget and made like $200 million.
Mm-hmm.
And then the sequel had like a $50 million budget and made like $330 million. Like,
I love the sequel.
oh, it's really good. Yeah, sequels drop off. That one doesn't. It's just as solid as the original. So. But yeah, Fugitive for next week. Social media wise, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. There's a link to Patreon down below if you'd like to hear your name shouted from your speakers and
throw some money into our coffers.
That's right, because this is a free podcast, so we're just doing it for gratuity. So
We should at the end of every episode we should have like a tip jar that we just shake in front of the camera.
There you go. But yeah, we will be back next week with The Fugitive. So for Let's Talk About Flicks, I'm Oz.
I'm Curtis.
And we'll see you guys next week.